Driverly.com, unlimited drama series.
I always thought my marriage would end with a whimper. Instead, it started with a text. Don't come home tonight. I need the apartment. Don't ask why. And the message glowed on my phone screen like a neon sign advertising my own humiliation. Dana had sent it at 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, right when I was debugging code for the 1,000th time that day. My name's Mark Kessler, 41 years old, and I make smart homes smarter than their owners. Ironic, considering I was apparently the dumbest husband in Chicago. Don't ask why. Right, because asking questions was never Dana's favorite hobby when it came to her husband. But it was definitely mine when it came to my wife. I sat in my Honda Civic outside Starbucks for 2 hours, watching hipsters order drinks with more syllables than most people's names, trying to figure out what Dana needed our upscale Lincoln Park condo for that couldn't include me. The possibilities weren't exactly heartwarming. See, Dana Kessler wasn't just my wife of 8 years. She was also a Dana Wellness Guru, Instagram influencer extraordinaire, with 43,000 followers who hung on her every word about organic smoothies and spiritual cleansing. What they didn't know was that Dana's idea of spiritual cleansing involved cleansing herself of anything resembling a conscience. At 7:30 p.m., I crept back to our building like a burglar in my own life. The Meridian Tower was one of those glass monuments to gentrification, complete with a doorman who knew everyone's business and a smart home system I'd personally upgraded. Every apartment had cameras, smart locks, and environmental controls that could make your home feel like paradise or purgatory, depending on your settings. I nodded to Eddie, our night doorman, who gave me a look that said he knew something I didn't. That look made my stomach drop like a broken elevator. "Evening, Mr. Kessler," Eddie said, avoiding eye contact. "Your wife had a visitor today, that personal trainer fellow, Trent Wallace." Of course. Trent was Dana's wellness coach, a 37-year-old walking protein shake with perfect teeth and the personality of a motivational poster. He'd been coming around for sessions for 3 months, always when I was at work, always staying longer than any reasonable workout required. I took the elevator to the 15th floor, my mind racing faster than the ascending numbers. Our apartment was quiet, but the smart lock showed recent activity. Dana had entered at 4:15 p.m. A guest had arrived at 4:22 p.m. They were still inside. Here's where being a software engineer with trust issues becomes useful. 6 months ago, I'd installed a discrete camera system throughout our apartment. Not because I was paranoid. Okay, maybe I was paranoid, but because Dana had a habit of blaming me for things that mysteriously disappeared or broke. I called it my insurance policy. I pulled up the camera feeds on my phone from the hallway, and what I saw made me want to throw my device against the wall. Dana and Trent were in our living room, and they definitely weren't discussing her macronutrient ratios. She was wearing that red lingerie set I'd bought her for our anniversary, the one she'd claimed made her feel objectified when I suggested she wear it. Apparently, objectification was more palatable when the object wasn't her husband. Trent had her pressed against our granite kitchen counter, the same counter where Dana and I ate breakfast every morning in increasingly uncomfortable silence. His hands were places that made me clench my fists so hard my knuckles went white. "God, I've wanted this for months," Dana moaned, loud enough that I could hear it through the door. "Mark never makes me feel like this." "Your husband's a joke," Trent grunted back. "What kind of man spends all day with computers instead of taking care of his woman?" "The kind of man who pays for the apartment you're defiling," I thought. "The kind of man who's about to make you both very, very sorry." I stood there for 10 more minutes, watching my marriage disintegrate in high definition. They moved to the bedroom, our bedroom, with the king-size bed I'd assembled with my own hands, following Dana's exact specifications for thread count and firmness. But I didn't just stand there feeling sorry for myself. I was planning. See, our apartment wasn't just smart, it was genius-level smart, because I'd customized every system personally. The environmental controls, the lighting, the sound system, even the sprinkler system. All of it connected to my phone, all of it ready to respond to my commands. I opened my custom app and navigated to a feature I'd installed but never used: Emergency Humidification Protocol. Originally designed for fire suppression, I'd modified it for a different kind of emergency. The kind where your cheating wife and her musclehead boyfriend needed to be taught a lesson about consequences. The system could release a dense, colored mist throughout the apartment. Completely harmless, but absolutely unforgettable. I'd programmed it with food-grade green dye, the kind they use in St. Patrick's Day celebrations. Except this celebration was going to be a lot more memorable. I selected the maximum intensity setting and typed in my authorization code. Then I knocked on the door. "Dana, I'm home." The sounds from the bedroom stopped immediately. I heard frantic whispering, scrambling, the sound of clothes being grabbed hastily. "Mark," Dana called out, her voice pitched higher than usual. "You're early. I'm just finishing up a session with Trent." "I bet you are," I muttered, then pressed the activation button. What happened next was beautiful chaos. The apartment's ventilation system roared to life, pumping thick green mist through every vent. Within 30 seconds, our home looked like the inside of a lime jello mold. The mist was so dense you couldn't see 2 feet in any direction, and it stuck to everything. Skin, hair, clothes, furniture. The screaming started immediately. "What the hell is happening?" Trent shouted. "Mark, Puck, turn it off!" Dana shrieked. I used my key to enter the apartment, wearing the painter's mask I kept in my laptop bag. The green fog was so thick, it looked like a special effect from a horror movie. I could hear Dana and Trent stumbling around, bumping into furniture, coughing and cursing. "Don't worry," I called out cheerfully. "It's completely non-toxic. The color should only last about a week." "A Billy we aki," Dana's voice cracked like a 13-year-old boy's. I made my way to the bedroom, where I found them pressed against the window, looking like 2 very guilty Smurfs who'd had an unfortunate encounter with green paint. Trent was shirtless, his perfectly sculpted abs now perfectly green. Dana wore my anniversary lingerie, which now looked like something a leprechaun might find sexy. "Surprise," I said, pulling out my phone to record. "Say cheese." That's when they ran. Dana and Trent bolted for the front door, dripping green mist and panic in equal measure. They burst into the hallway, just as Mrs. Applebaum from 15C was walking her ancient Pomeranian. Mrs. Applebaum took one look at the green couple stumbling out of my apartment and started screaming like she'd seen the creature from the Black Lagoon. Her dog started barking. Other doors opened. Neighbors emerged to witness the spectacle. "Call the police," Mrs. Applebaum shouted. "There's been some kind of chemical attack." Eddie the doorman came running up the stairs, took one look at Dana and Trent, and started laughing so hard he had to lean against the wall for support. "Mr. Kessler," he wheezed, "I think your wife's wellness session went a little sideways." Dana tried to maintain some dignity, which is nearly impossible when you're bright green and wearing lingerie in a public hallway. "This is assault," she screamed at me. "I'm calling the police." "Please do," I said calmly. I'd love to explain to them why my wife and her personal trainer were in my apartment, in my bedroom, wearing the lingerie I bought her, while I was specifically told not to come home. Trent, who apparently hadn't been blessed with an abundance of brain cells, decided this was the moment to get physical. He stepped toward me, his green fists clenched. "You think you're funny, you little—" "I think I'm hilarious," I interrupted. "And I think you're trespassing. And I think your wife Lisa might be very interested in seeing the footage I've got of your wellness session." That stopped him cold. Lisa Wallace was a divorce attorney who specialized in taking cheating husbands to the cleaners. Trent's face went from green to pale green. By now, half the 15th floor was watching the show. Mr. Dorsey, the retired cop from 15F, was recording everything on his phone. Miss Lee from 15A was live streaming it to her TikTok followers. The Meridian Tower building chat was probably exploding with gossip. "This isn't over," Dana hissed at me as she and Trent headed for the elevator. "You're right," I called after her. "It's just getting started." As the elevator doors closed on my green wife and her green boyfriend, I realized something important. I felt better than I had in months, maybe years. Mrs. Applebaum looked at me with new respect. "That was quite a show, Mr. Kessler." "Thank you, Mrs. Applebaum. I've been working on it." For a while, I went back into my apartment to survey the damage. The green mist was already dissipating, thanks to the ventilation system, but everything was stained a lovely shade of lime. The furniture, the walls, even the granite countertops where my marriage had officially died. It was going to take weeks to clean up. It was going to cost thousands to replace everything. It was worth every penny. The next morning, I woke up in a hotel room that smelled like industrial disinfectant and broken dreams. The Hampton Inn wasn't exactly the Ritz, but it had something my apartment didn't: the absence of my cheating wife and her protein powder boyfriend. I checked my phone and nearly choked on my complimentary coffee. The building's resident chat group had exploded overnight with 247 new messages. Apparently, my green mist incident had become the most exciting thing to happen at the Meridian Tower since the great elevator breakdown of 2022. Mrs. Applebaum, 15C. Did everyone see what happened to the Kesslers last night? I have never seen anything like it. Dorsey, retired cop. Caught the whole thing on camera. That Trent fellow won't be showing his face around here anytime soon. Techie Lee, 15A. My TikTok of the green couple has 50K views and counting. #green with envy, #cheating karma. Building manager. Residents, please remember that the hallways are not appropriate venues for personal disputes or chemical incidents. Mrs. Applebaum, 15C. Chemical incidents. Mark Kessler is a hero. I scrolled through dozens more messages, each one more entertaining than the last. Dana had apparently tried to get back into the building at 6 a.m. to collect her things, but Eddie the doorman had turned her away because she was still visibly green. Eddie, night shift. Lady was greener than the Hulk, told her to come back when she looked more human. My phone buzzed with a call from my sister Jamie. I'd texted her the highlights last night, but apparently she needed the full story. Mark! Oh my God, tell me everything, and I mean everything. Jamie was 3 years younger than me, twice as smart, and had never liked Dana. She was a paralegal with a shark's instinct for blood in the water, and right now she smelled chum. It was beautiful, Jamie. Like watching karma in real time. I saw the TikTok. That Asian girl from your building is a genius. Dana looks like she fell into a vat of lime jello. That's Miss Lee, and yes, she's documenting everything. I think she's secretly enjoying this more than I am. Impossible. So what's your next move? I'd been thinking about that all night. The green mist was just the opening act. Dana had humiliated me for months, probably years, making me feel like I was lucky to have her, like I should be grateful for the scraps of attention she threw my way. Now it was my turn. I'm going to destroy her, Jamie, completely, legally, socially, financially. When I'm done, she'll wish she'd never heard my name. That's my brother. What do you need? Information. Dana's been hiding something big, I can feel it. Her spending habits, her social media income, something doesn't add up. I'm on it. What about the musclehead? Trent? I've got special plans for Trent. After hanging up with Jamie, I drove to my office. Big Al, my boss, took one look at me and grinned. Heard you had an interesting evening, Kessler. Word traveled fast in Chicago's tech community. Apparently, someone had already shared the TikTok video in our company's Slack channel. Just some home improvement, Al, testing out the environmental systems. Well, whatever you did, the whole internet thinks you're a genius. That video's going viral. #green with envy is trending on Twitter. I spent the morning pretending to work while actually researching Dana's digital footprint. As a software engineer, I knew how to dig deep into public records, social media analytics, and financial databases. What I found made my blood boil. Dana had been lying about everything. Her Instagram account claimed she made money through brand partnerships and wellness coaching, but the numbers didn't match her lifestyle. Our joint bank account showed regular deposits that were way too large for her declared income. She had credit cards I didn't know about, a separate savings account, and, this was the kicker, she'd been accepting payments through Venmo for something called premium wellness content. I dug deeper and found her OnlyFans account. A Dana wellness guru wasn't just posting workout videos and smoothie recipes. She was posting a lot more than that, and charging premium prices for exclusive content. The same woman who'd made me feel like a pervert for wanting to see her in lingerie was selling photos of herself in a lot less to strangers on the internet. The hypocrisy was breathtaking. The business opportunity was even better. I screenshotted everything: her OnlyFans profile, the payment records, the photos she'd been selling. Then I created a comprehensive report documenting every lie she'd told me about her income, her business, and her online activities. Dana wanted to play games? I was about to show her what happened when you played games with someone who understood the rules better than you did. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is Lisa Wallace, Trent's wife. We need to talk." Perfect. I met Lisa at a coffee shop in River North, far enough from Lincoln Park that we wouldn't run into any mutual acquaintances. Lisa Wallace was everything Dana wasn't: sharp, direct, and currently furious enough to melt steel. "I saw the video," she said without preamble. "My husband looked like the Incredible Hulk's idiot brother. I'm sorry you had to find out this way." "Are you?" "Because honestly, I'm grateful. I've suspected Trent was cheating for months, but I never had proof. Your little green light show gave me everything I need for the divorce." Lisa was a divorce attorney, which meant she knew exactly how to make Trent's life miserable. But I had bigger plans. What if I told you we could do more than just divorce him? What if we could make sure he never shows his face in this city again? Her eyes lit up like Christmas morning. "I'm listening." I showed her the footage I'd captured of
You wrote him love poems. In 10 years, you never wrote me a word.
It was emotional.
How is he telling in another?
Watch more on Grammarly.com.
Dana and Trent, the financial records I'd discovered, and the OnlyFans evidence. Lisa's smile grew wider with each revelation. "Your wife's been running an unlicensed business, failing to report income, and potentially violating the terms of your lease agreement. Trent's been using his personal training certification to facilitate adultery, which could cost him his license." "What about the sponsors?" I asked. Dana had several wellness companies that paid her to promote their products: organic supplements, yoga equipment, meditation apps. All of them marketed themselves as family-friendly, values-based brands. "They'd drop her in a heartbeat if they knew about the OnlyFans account," Lisa said, "especially if it became public knowledge." We spent 2 hours planning Dana and Trent's destruction. Lisa would handle the legal aspects: filing for divorce, reporting Trent's certification violations, and documenting everything for potential fraud charges. I would handle the social media campaign that would end both their careers. "There's one more thing," I said as we prepared to leave. "Dana and Trent are planning something. I can feel it. She's not the type to just slink away quietly. What do you think they're planning?" "I think they're going to try to turn this around on me. Make me look like the crazy, abusive husband who attacked his innocent wife and her trainer." Lisa nodded grimly. "Then we better move fast." That evening, I returned to my hotel room and began crafting the social media posts that would end Dana's influencer career. I started with her biggest sponsors, sending them anonymous tips about her OnlyFans account, and including screenshots of her most explicit content. Then I created a comprehensive timeline of Dana's lies, complete with evidence, and sent it to her mother, her sister, and her 3 closest friends: Chloe, Sam, and Willow. The responses started coming in within hours. Dana's mom: "Mark, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Dana's father and I are horrified. OMG, Mark. Dana told us you two were separated. She said you were emotionally abusive. This changes everything." Sam: "I can't believe she lied to us. We've been supporting her through this difficult marriage for months." Willow: "Honestly, I never liked Dana. She always seemed fake. Good for you for exposing her." By midnight, 3 of Dana's major sponsors had terminated their contracts. Her Instagram comments section was flooded with angry followers who felt betrayed by her lies. The OnlyFans revelations had spread through the wellness community like wildfire. But I wasn't done, not even close. I pulled up Trent's information and discovered something interesting. He was married, but he'd been telling his gym clients he was single. He'd been using his fake bachelor status to attract female clients, some of whom had posted about their dates with their hot personal trainer. I sent screenshots of Trent's wedding photos to every woman who'd posted about him on social media. The responses were immediate and furious. Jenny Fitness 22. "This married man told me he was single. We went out 3 times. Yoga Mom Chicago. Trent Wallace is a lying cheater. He hit on me during training sessions." Fitness influencer Sarah: "Ladies, avoid this trainer. He's married and preys on clients." Within hours, Trent's gym had received dozens of complaints. His personal training certification board had been notified of potential ethical violations. His reputation in Chicago's fitness community was destroyed. I fell asleep that night, feeling more satisfied than I had in years. Dana and Trent had wanted to humiliate me, to make me feel small and worthless. Instead, they'd unleashed something they couldn't control: a man with nothing left to lose and all the technical skills necessary to make their lives a living hell. Tomorrow, the real fun would begin. I woke up to 17 missed calls from Dana and a text message that made me laugh out loud. "Mark, we need to talk. This has gone too far." Too far? We were just getting started. I met Jamie for breakfast at Lou Mitchell's, a diner that had been serving coffee and justice in equal measure since 1923. She slid a manila folder across the table, with the satisfied expression of a cat who'd caught a particularly fat mouse. "Your wife is in deep trouble," she said. Deeper than she knows. Jamie had spent the night digging through public records, and what she'd found was beautiful. Dana hadn't just been hiding her OnlyFans income. She'd been committing tax fraud on a spectacular scale. "She's been reporting maybe 30% of her actual income," Jamie explained. "The IRS is going to love this. And look at this. She's been claiming business expenses for personal purchases. That lingerie you bought her, she wrote it off as a business costume. The lingerie she wore to cheat on me with Trent, the very same. She also claimed your apartment's rent as a business expense, since she films content there. Technically, she owes you money for using your home as her porn studio." I nearly choked on my eggs. "Porn studio? Mark, some of her OnlyFans content was filmed in your bedroom, while you were at work. She's been charging strangers to see her naked in the bed you share." The violation was so complete, so personal, that I felt something cold and hard settle in my chest. Dana hadn't just cheated on me. She'd turned our entire life into a lie, a performance, a business opportunity. What else? Jamie grinned. "Trent's in even worse shape. Turns out he's been running his own side business, selling steroids to gym clients. Lisa found evidence in their joint bank account. The DEA might be interested." Jesus, gets better. Dana and Trent have been planning to run away together. They opened a joint account in the Cayman Islands. They were going to clean out your savings and disappear. The betrayal was so complete it was almost artistic. They hadn't just been having an affair. They'd been planning to steal my life savings and abandon their spouses like discarded gym towels. "When?" I asked. "This weekend." They booked flights to Grand Cayman for Saturday morning. Today was Thursday. That gave me less than 48 hours to complete their destruction. "Jamie, I need you to do something for me. Something that might be slightly illegal." "I'm listening." "I need you to freeze our joint accounts. All of them. And I need you to do it in a way that looks like the bank's decision, not mine." Jamie worked for a law firm that specialized in financial crimes. She had contacts at every major bank in Chicago, and more importantly, she had the documentation to prove that Dana had been committing fraud. "Consider it done. What about Trent?" "Leave Trent to me." I spent Thursday afternoon conducting surveillance on my wife's boyfriend. Trent worked at an upscale gym in River North, where he trained wealthy housewives and young professionals who wanted to look like Instagram models. His schedule was predictable. Morning clients from 6 a.m. to noon, lunch break, afternoon clients from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. At 12:30 p.m., I followed him to the parking garage, where he kept his pride and joy, a bright red Corvette that probably cost more than I made in 6 months. The car was Trent's identity, his peacock feathers, his mobile advertisement for his services. It was about to become his mobile humiliation. I'd brought supplies, industrial-strength glitter, honey, and a dozen cans of expanding foam. The plan was simple, elegant, and completely legal. I wasn't going to damage his car, just make it temporarily unusable and permanently embarrassing. First, I squeezed honey over every surface of the car, creating a sticky coating that would attract every piece of debris in Chicago. Then I dumped glitter over the honey, pounds of it, in every color imaginable. The Corvette looked like it had been attacked by a craft store. Finally, I used the expanding foam to fill the exhaust pipe, the air vents, and the space around the windshield wipers. The foam would harden quickly, making the car impossible to drive until it was professionally cleaned. I left a note under the windshield wiper. Golf lesson #1. Don't screw with the underdog. More lessons to follow. Then I waited. Trent emerged from the gym at exactly 2 p.m., probably planning to grab lunch before his afternoon clients. He was wearing his usual uniform of tight athletic wear, designed to show off his physique, and he was checking his phone as he walked. He stopped dead when he saw his car. "What the fuck?" he screamed, loud enough to echo through the parking garage. Other people stopped to stare. Someone started laughing. I heard the distinctive sound of phone cameras clicking. Trent tried to open his car door, but his hands stuck to the honey-covered handle. He pulled away, leaving palm prints in the glitter coating. When he tried to wipe his hands on his shorts, he just spread more glitter around. "This is vandalism," he shouted at no one in particular. I'm calling the police. A security guard approached, took one look at the glittery Corvette, and started grinning. Sir, you're going to need to move your vehicle. It's distracting the other customers. I can't move it. Someone sabotaged it. Did they damage it? The guard asked. Or just decorate it? That was the beauty of my plan. I hadn't broken anything, scratched the paint, or caused any permanent damage. I just made Trent's car look ridiculous and temporarily inoperable. The foam in the exhaust, Trent started, can be removed by any car wash, the guard interrupted. Sir, if there's no actual damage, this is probably a civil matter, not criminal. You might want to call a detailing service. I watched from across the street as Trent spent 20 minutes trying to clean honey and glitter off his hands with wet wipes from his gym bag. Every surface he touched became stickier. Every movement spread more glitter around. Finally, he gave up and called an Uber. But I wasn't done with Trent, not even close. That evening, I attended the mediation session Dana had demanded. She'd hired a lawyer, some slick downtown type who probably charged more per hour than I made in a day. They'd chosen a neutral location, a conference room in a downtown office building. Dana walked in looking like she'd spent the day at a spa, which she probably had. Her skin was back to its normal color, though I could still see faint green traces around her hairline. She was wearing her serious businesswoman outfit, a conservative suit that was supposed to make her look respectable and wronged. Her lawyer, a thin man named Peterson, started with the usual threats. Mr. Kessler, my client is prepared to file charges for assault, harassment, and destruction of property. The chemical attack on Tuesday was clearly premeditated and— Chemical attack? I interrupted. You mean the non-toxic food coloring that I deployed in my own apartment when I discovered my wife committing adultery? Peterson's confidence wavered slightly. Regardless, you had no right to. Actually, I had every right. I opened my laptop and turned it toward them. I have video evidence of Mrs. Kessler and Mr. Wallace engaging in sexual activity in my home, without my knowledge or consent. I also have evidence that Mrs. Kessler has been using our marital residence to film pornographic content for sale online. Dana's face went white. You can't show that to anyone. I can show it to anyone I want, Dana. It's my home, too. And speaking of things I can share, I clicked to the next slide. Here's documentation of your OnlyFans account, your unreported income, and your tax fraud. The IRS received copies of everything this morning. Peterson was frantically taking notes, but Dana looked like she was going to be sick. There's more, I continued. Your sponsors received evidence of your OnlyFans activities yesterday. 3 have already terminated their contracts. The others will probably follow by tomorrow. You bastard, Dana hissed. You're trying to destroy my career. I'm not trying to destroy your career, Dana. I'm succeeding. But let's talk about what you were trying to do to me. I clicked to the next slide, showing the Cayman Islands bank account. Planning a little vacation, were we, with my money? Peterson leaned forward. How did you obtain this information? Public records, mostly. Amazing what you can find when you know where to look. For instance, did you know that your client and Mr. Wallace have been planning to flee the country with marital assets? That's a felony. Dana stood up so fast she knocked over her chair. This is harassment. You're stalking me. I'm protecting myself from theft. There's a difference. That's when she snapped completely. You think you're so smart, she screamed. You think you're better than me because you can hack into computers and spy on people. But you know what you are, Mark? You're a pathetic little man who can't satisfy his wife. You're boring and weak, and I never loved you. The room went completely silent. Peterson looked like he wanted to crawl under the table. Are you finished? I asked calmly. I'm just getting started. You want to play games? Fine. I'll tell everyone what you're really like. I'll tell them about your drinking problem, your gambling, your— My what now? I interrupted. Dana, I don't drink more than a beer with dinner, and I've never gambled on anything bigger than an office football pool. I'll make them believe it. I'll destroy you on social media. I have 40,000 followers. Had, I corrected. You had 40,000 followers. You're down to about 32,000 as of this morning. Turns out people don't like being lied to. I stood up and closed my laptop. Gentlemen, I think we're done here. Dana, you have until Saturday morning to move your belongings out of our apartment. After that, I'm changing the locks. Lisa's filing for divorce, and she gets the house. Pedersen tried one last desperate gambit. Mr. Kessler, perhaps we can reach some kind of settlement. The only settlement I'm interested in is a divorce. Dana gets nothing. No alimony, no property division, nothing. She can keep whatever she made from her OnlyFans account, assuming she can prove it to the IRS. I walked toward the door, then turned back. Oh, and Dana, you might want to check your bank accounts. Seems like there's been some unusual activity. Her face went from white to green, and this time, it wasn't from food coloring. As I left the building, I felt lighter than I had in years. Dana had tried to make me feel small, worthless, lucky to have her. Instead, she'd awakened something she couldn't control, a man with nothing left to lose and all the skills necessary to win. But I wasn't done yet, not even close. Saturday morning was coming, and with it, the finale Dana and Trent would never forget.